Okay, when we go up to the book buffet and we start looking at what we might want to put on our plate, we really need to decide, can we come back for more? And if we can, we may want to limit what we put on our plate. Okay, today I am going through books, and I want to share with you why I keep some of what I do keep and some of the books I wish I would have gotten rid of a while back. And we are going to actually go to a used bookstore and drop some of these off. I have sold some of them. I found some stamps. Any of you have any stamp collectors in your family? Well, I have a pile of them and I'm not sure what to do with them. Any suggestions? Okay. My son is helping me a little bit. We're getting ready to go. It was sort of a last minute decision because I need to take him somewhere and it is close to the drop-off spot for the books. So we are collecting everything, going through what I want to take, what I want to keep, and I want to share that with you today. A lot of people do this every year, and I usually do declutter my homeschool room almost every year, go through things, more so now that I have graduated too, and down to 2 more, and one will be in 11th grade next school year. So he is definitely narrowing down with what he needs. But going to get these boxes out of here. Need to be heading out here in just a minute. So what do you do when your kids are little and you just start out homeschooling? All the decisions of books. How many do I need? What do I need exactly? I'm going to talk about that in a little bit and probably even show you some things. This is my class room, getting ready to leave. Obviously, you see books everywhere. And that box is actually my son's for next school year. We made it to the bookstore. We have to load these boxes and carry in the helper today. Going to take these in and see if they want any of them. When you go to a used bookstore, it is helpful to let the kids find what they want to look at first, and then you can look at what you want. Here is another day, and I started to dig a little deeper and really thought, why am I keeping some of this stuff? I actually had my teenager come in and help me go through some things because he has a whole section or a pile of piano books, and I was trying to decide on what was needed and what was not needed. Also, I am going through some IEW books. You know, they've updated, so what do you do when they update curriculum? What I had was a pretty old version. I kept it too long. So I have a video set with the student book. I'm going to hang on to that, see if I can sell it. Maybe somebody will take it. I think it would still be useful for sure. But I'm going to throw some of the notebooks themselves away. I just don't think anybody's interested. So you have to make those decisions, because if not, things will pile up. You have to decide on, is this worth taking up my space if you cannot sell it, if people do not want it? So, and that happens with curriculum, and you wonder why. Why can I not sell this? I don't know. There's just seasons. There's times where things sell and things don't. So you have to make the decision then and there. Am I going to store this one more time? So here's my teenager. Lots of piano books. He had the whole set from when he was younger that I thought about keeping, and that is another thing I thought about keeping for his younger brother. Well, I don't think he's going to do the piano. We tried one year. He is just not interested. Actually, he said, if I could take them and not have to play the same song over and over again. Okay, well, that's how it works. Had to tell him. So we're not going to do piano. And that's okay. Not every kid is going to have the same interest, abilities, talents. So we are just going through these, piling up. If I can't sell them, I might just give them to my son's teacher, and she may be able to give them to someone that might need them, because you have to order them as they progress in piano. So that's an option. If you could help somebody out by giving the books that you know they'll need. So, all right, fun times with my son here. He's still going through books. He decided to actually keep a couple. We were just trying to eliminate. And it's hard to make those decisions, but these are books that I can get again if I absolutely needed. And they were only like $10 or maybe $8. I can't remember. So it's all right. Okay, as you can see, books do pile up over the years. We are a homeschool family of 15 years. I have graduated too. I have a 5th grader and a 10th grader this school year. My name is Rachel. Welcome to Learning with Boys. And I want to just give you some of my thoughts on, decluttering, the thought of minimalist. I am not naturally a minimalist, but I do constantly declutter. And I've actually decluttered several things the last couple months. I've not really shared with you, but now it's time for the books. Once school is over, I can think about that. I don't want to uproar my classroom when we're right in the middle of it. It's just a distraction, and I don't need that. But I want to give you some thoughts, not just on the decluttering part, on how did we get here? After I share a few things, I'm going to show you also some samples and what I mean by what I'm about to say. So, the first thing I want to say is to start out small. I used to be one of those people that they would always say, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, because I would overfill my plate and only be able to eat like half of it. And that can be how books and curriculum are. You overfill, you feel like you need to finish it because you bought it, but you're so stuffed, and you just feel gross when you feel that way. And you have all this books and this curriculum, so you just sort of like, now you don't want to do any of it. And you don't want to be at that point. So starting out small, just fill your plate with a few things that you know you will eat or you know you'll use. And then you can go back for seconds. If you feel like, okay, I would like to add in music, or I would like to add in art study, or I would like to add in a unit study, then you can do that later on. Okay, now this can be for curriculum, but it can also be for books. Maybe you want to get your children some books that they're interested in. I mean, you can go all the way down to preschool. I remember having one shelf at the bottom that my preschoolers could reach. That was their books, and they sort of knew that. So that was helpful, just to sort of limit that space that you're going to collect, how many books that you can have for 2, 3, 4-year-olds. So that is helpful, but as they get older, it does get a little bit harder. And for me, one thing I would do, especially as a new homeschool mom, I was not familiar with a lot of the books. So I wanted to see if my library had them before I went and spent the money on them. And a lot of times they did. A lot of times they would have books you would not expect they would have, and sometimes they didn't have the books you thought they should have. So sometimes you can run into that. But if you can get the books first and sort of read them and decide a lot of books we read, or the library also had them on audio and we would listen to them. And sometimes I would want to go ahead and purchase them to have in the future, but a lot of times that was good enough for us. It was a good book. We just didn't need to invest in it. Just trying to decide what your family will love, what kind of style they like, and what you would like to read again. So there were times that we did get a book from the library, and I was glad I got it from the library first, and I didn't purchase it because it was not our favorite. The hard thing is when a library does not carry something and you go ahead and purchase a book, and maybe it's a book in a series, and I'm going to share some samples of that with you in a little bit, that you think, oh, they would love these books, but the library doesn't have them. What do? Do you go ahead and purchase them all? Several times I did, and I will share some samples with you. If your kid loves that series, to me it's worth it, especially if it's a good quality book and they are learning something from it. All right, as you've seen in my decluttering part of the video here, I had some old curriculum, and that is the hardest part, is how long do you keep the curriculum or the books? Now, I'm talking about if you like it. I have bought curriculum. For example, when my youngest, I think it was a second grade, the master books, I guess it would have been their phonics grammar for second grade. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just not for us. And we pushed through it, and I sort of worked it out and made it work for him throughout the year, because I feel like second grade, it's not like they're going to miss anything and they're not going to get behind in grammar. They're going to be reviewing that the rest of their life. So I went ahead and just pushed through, but I knew in my mind it was not something I wanted to keep or something I would be using again. So I just need to get rid of it. But what about IEW? When I first purchased that, I knew that is what worked for us. I was very excited about it. I actually probably purchased it used, and that is probably what got me. I think if I would have purchased it new, then I may have had opportunities to trade in or maybe have a higher selling value. I'm not really sure if you're purchasing new or used. If you can borrow it from a friend first to try it out, it would be very helpful. That way you know, do I want to really invest in this curriculum? So I feel like I have really kept this curriculum too long. I should have handed it down to somebody else. I had a big gap between the two that I have now. I obviously have updated, and I've taken advantage of that because I do see, I don't want to say improvement, I just like the interaction of these new videos. The old ones were great. My boys watched them. They loved him. Andrew Poodle has been funny all these years. It doesn't matter. But you know, the younger, newer moms want the newer things. So, and I don't have that. I'm not going to be able to sell it. So, and even if you're a newer, younger mom, you will be in that position someday. So just want to give you those thoughts as you're buying and purchasing curriculum. You could just use it and resell it, unless it's a curriculum you could use for a couple of years. Okay, let me share a couple books, thoughts on why I purchase things and why I may not. This first set of books, I purchased a few, probably at a yard sale or a used homeschool curriculum sale. And then this was all for my oldest when he was younger, probably even younger than my fifth grader now. He seen that they had a whole set and he wanted to add to that collection. So this was like, 12 years ago. And we just started adding. And now these books, as far as I know, you cannot get them at the library. So I didn't have a problem investing, and I didn't buy any of these new. I mean, one of them on here says 75 cents. I probably began by purchasing like sets of them off of eBay, because I used to buy some stuff off eBay. Now they have several different ways to purchase things. So to me, it was worth the investment, especially since I ended up having 1, 2, 3 more come through, and they read through them. So this was worth a little investment to me. Now I still have this on the bookshelf. I am not ready to get rid of it. My fifth grader, and that is one thing I want to let you know, is I will be sharing a video on what my boys enjoyed reading more around this age, and including what my fifth grader has been reading the last few months. He's been reading a variety of books, so I want to share that with you. But even though he's almost past this stage of reading these, I don't want to get rid of them. They are good reference books, like if you had to write a report or something, but they're not easy to find unless you buy them used. And I feel like, to me, this set is sort of like having Little House on the Prairie set. I don't know, just for me. Every family is different. So, and I may pass them on to another family someday, but right now I have room on my bookshelf. So, do you have room on your bookshelf would be a good question to decide. And these are all things that I have had to learn the last few years. I've always decluttered, but deciding on what space I have to store things has been a huge help in me deciding, okay, it's not going to fit there. That means I've got to get rid of something. So keep that in mind as you are wanting to add to the books that you have. That's more books in curriculum you want to make sure you have the space for. But now these books also are something that I went ahead and purchased over the years. I've never bought the set, I just bought them used, but I wanted them in our library because I knew they were good science books that I didn't have to worry about what was being said in them. So from a Christian worldview perspective. All right, well, here is a book that I have that I know you can get at the library, but I actually purchased this one before I realized that. I think they even have it on audio. I could be wrong. But I went ahead, and I think I probably got it at a yard sale. It is older. It was older when I bought it, but all my boys have read it. If I had gotten it at the library, I probably would have just kept getting it at the library. Like, I don't need to continue holding on to this book. I probably need to pass it on. Right, here is a couple more books I'm pretty sure you can get at the library. And these are actually books I used for my son's curriculum this school year. They're actually at the library. So the first year, maybe even the second time I used Creation to Christ, I didn't purchase these books. I got them at the library because I had probably bought a lot of my set used. I go through, what can I get at the library so I don't have to buy the books. But then when I realized I was going to be using it again, I'm in a season that we don't go to the library as much, it would have been just easier to have them here. So I went ahead and purchased them for this school year. And it was nice because I didn't have to think, oh, I need to plan on getting that book. And that is what I did a lot when they were younger. If we used a living book curriculum, I would check off what the library had first. And that helps with how many books you're going to have to store also. So whatever works for you, just making sure that you have the space and the storage for what you have. I hope this was helpful in some way as you are either starting out homeschooling or you're in the midst of it and a little overwhelmed with books, because they are a big decision. You know, they cost money. I do have even some stuff that I have bought new that I'm like, didn't end up using it. So, but it's okay. If I need that space on the shelf to put something on there I will use, I just need to get rid of it. So, all right, I just wanted to share these thoughts with you. I'm hoping it encourages you, and especially the stress of like, can I have too many books? If you have somewhere to put them, I think it's wonderful. I love books, so I don't have a problem with that. But if you have a lot of books that you're not using or you probably won't use, maybe that space could be used for something else. So, all right, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again soon.